Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello everyone and welcome to Culture Bucket, the universe's greatest podcast, where two good, great best friends talk all things popular culture every single week. This week is episode number 113 and we will be discussing the top 5 studio albums released by Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yes, the world is in the grip of Taylor Swift fever.
Yeah.
She's in the middle of her record-breaking Eras tour. Credited with improving the economy of various countries that she's visited, etc. It's a pretty big thing. So we've decided to honour her by discussing our favourite albums that she has released. And I'm your host, George, who will be talking to you, and with me is my co-host, Alex, who will also be talking to you. How are you today, Alex?
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. I'm very good. It's hot in Italy.
Is it hot?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's called Cerberus.
Wow.
This heat
Wow.
is the 3-headed dog.
That's crazy.
That is like attacking Italy, and people are cancelling their plans to come to Europe. Good. Too many tourists.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm very excited about talking about Taylor today.
Yeah.
I've discovered more of her, which is good. How are you doing today, George?
I'm good. I'm also excited, and yeah, it's warm in the UK, but it's not too warm. It's just a normal UK weather at the moment, which is fine by me. And yeah, I'm good. It's all good.
But what exciting thing happened to you? Are you not excited?
Oh, I got tickets to see Taylor Swift.
Like, how are you not like super
Well,
excited?
because you don't have tickets, so I feel guilty.
It doesn't matter. We've been friends for like a decade.
Yeah,
Like this year's a decade. We've been friends for 10 years.
an incredible achievement.
This year. Exactly. You can be excited. I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't know. Please be excited. Because I'm excited for you, but you better take some videos for
I'm
me.
wetting my pants over how excited I am to go and see
I'm so happy.
the Eras tour. It was a very stressful time. I was getting kicked out of queues. My friend was getting kicked out of queues. I was losing signal. But in the end, we managed to get free tickets. So I'm going with a couple of friends.
Awesome.
Seated, which I was unhappy with at first, but I've justified it by reading online that apparently the stage for the Eras tour, I've tried to look up as little as possible at it because supposedly it's some kind of incredible spectacle and I want to just see it fresh. But apparently this stage is about 8 feet tall, it's very wide, it comes out like a runway into the audience, and if she is over on one side of it, where you're stood, you won't be able to see her, so you'll have to watch her on the screens, but you know, we're sat in really good seats, about halfway down, at the end of where the stage is,
Cool.
And we're about to see the whole show, and it should be amazing, and I cannot wait. And it's a year
I'm
away
pretty
as
sure-
well. That's another reason why I'm.
Yeah.
What's shocking you?
I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure like everybody's going to stand up to dance.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
I'm sure it will be like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited for you and very jealous, of course, but also very excited.
3 hours long,
That's amazing.
like 45 songs or something.
You get
She
your
went
money's
through,
worth.
yeah.
How does she keep her voice? Like, because she does a lot of touring and she does.
Incredible. Yeah, singing and dancing like it's a whole production every night. It must be a lot, and she somehow keeps going. Hopefully, she'll keep going for another year. And in the European tour, she's joined by Paramore as a support act.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that as well because I saw Paramore live recently and they were great. So that'll be really fun. It's going to be really brilliant. What's your history with Taylor Swift? When did you start to like Taylor Swift? What do you think about Taylor Swift?
So I think I didn't really have an opinion on Taylor Swift because her first album came out in 2006, and I think I was a little bit too old for her yet. I don't know, period of transition, but I didn't really start listening to her until probably Red.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really know anything about her, and I didn't really listen to an album until probably after 1989. I didn't really listen to Red much. I knew the songs and I knew of her, but I think 1989 was the first album that I actually really listened of hers.
Well, 1989, when did that come out? Did it come out when we were together in Japan?
2014.
So yes.
Yes.
So because I remember that coming out and us being pretty into it
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah, I think Japan was my period of transition. So before Japan, before 1989, I was like, oh, Taylor, who is she? Is this girl that always has a heartbreak? And then the more years have gone by, the more I've actually become like a real fan. And I didn't realize I was a real fan until I was like, oh, I have to listen to those Taylor Swift albums. But really, it was just the first three. And I have listened to them to research for this.
Wow.
And and I think I like it even more now that I listen to the first three. What has your journey with Taylor's been?
Well, traditionally I'm a metal and rock guy.
Yeah.
Right? I like to go to Download Festival, I like to watch Metallica and Slipknot,
Yeah.
etc.
You're a man.
Yeah, I'm a man, which makes it socially unacceptable to be a fan of Taylor Swift, obviously.
Yeah.
However, she's always been someone where I've been like, oh, I kind of like this. I wish I could.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was at university and I think her second album must have come out, Fearless.
Yeah.
And a flatmate of mine, who was much more comfortable with being a male fan of Taylor Swift, kept walking around the house singing Love Story.
Yes.
And I remember being like, and I remember listening to that song and being like, God, I really like that song. It's a really good song. And then when Red came out, obviously, those songs were everywhere. We Are Never Ever Ever Getting Back Together, and
yes.
So I knew Red by the singles. 22. What else is there on that? There's a bunch of big singles on Red, aren't there? I mean, Red's a massive album.
I knew You Were Trouble. All Too
You
Well.
Were Trouble when you
22.
So yeah, I liked all that stuff, and then 1989 came out, and I think that was that was similar to you, the first point where I think I actually listened to an album of hers and I really liked it. And then I was a bit, because I was also historically a huge Kanye West fan, and then you have the whole Kanye West versus Taylor Swift. He ruined her moment at the VMA Awards years ago. And I think it was the Love Story video that she'd won a MTV VMA for. As if who cares about MTV Video Music Awards? Good Lord, Kanye.
Kanye does.
And then she did there was a whole thing where like he did that song Famous, and he talks about Taylor Swift in it, and he's pretty gross about her. And then she got annoyed about it, and then Kim Kardashian leaked that audio of her supposedly agreeing to it, and I don't even really remember fully how all that played out, but I'm firmly on her side now due to him being a terrible human being. But yeah, so for that reason, I sort of I remember, again, I don't know why, but when Reputation came out, I remember enjoying the video for Look What You Made Me Do.
Yeah.
I never really listened to the album. And then the same was true of Lover, which I remember watching the video for Me and You Need to Calm Down. And particularly You Need to Calm Down, the video for that I remember seeing on Instagram. What's his name? Anthony, the guy from Queer Eye, who's a big fan of The National, is in the video for You Need to Calm Down. He did a whole post about how he bonded with Taylor Swift over their shared love of The National, and I was like, oh my God, Taylor Swift loves The National. I love The National.
Oh my God.
And then obviously that all came to a head a year later when she literally made an album with Aaron Dessner from The National. Yeah. We all know that by now. And that was definitely COVID was a very dark time for all of us. And I certainly got through that period with the support of some pretty important music that now is really important to me. And one of those albums was Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, which I've talked about my love for Phoebe Bridgers many times. And the other one was Folklore, the Taylor Swift album. That came out of nowhere, and it had Aaron Dessner all over it, and it had that sound that I love so much that he produces, and Taylor's songwriting is so good. And that was when I firmly became a fan of Taylor Swift. And then obviously she's had the whole re-releasing her albums, so I kind of made a choice not to listen to any of the older albums until she released the Taylor version of them.
I did.
That's fine.
Sorry, Taylor.
It's okay. I'm sure she doesn't mind.
But if there was Taylor's version, I listened to Taylor's version.
But that was when. So I remember when the Taylor's version of Red came out. I just that was the first time I'd actually probably heard All Too Well, I think, and that's that's the point where I stopped. I stopped just knowing her albums by the singles, and then when you dive deeper into them, I was like, oh, I really like these album cuts as well. Like everything she's doing, I really enjoy, and I'm just a big Swift fan of Taylor Swift. I'm a
Yeah.
Swiftie. I'm an absolute Swiftie.
Swiftie.
Yeah, and speaking of being a Swiftie, you know, if you are a Swiftie, you are aware of all the various mad Easter eggs and stuff she puts into her albums, even to the point where I was rewatching the video for Look What You Made Me Do this morning, and there's a bit where she's like, you just think about this, whereas I just think about karma. And I was like, oh, she released a song called Karma years later. I bet people think that that's a reference to that, and it probably is. And because of that, you might know that her lucky number is what?
13.
And what episode of the podcast are we recording right now?
113.
What the heck? And here are some other, like, here's, you know, the lucky one. No, hang on. She was born on the 13th. She turned 13 on Friday the 13th. Her first album went gold in 13 weeks. Her first song that ever went to number one had a 13-second intro. The Lucky One is the 13th track on her album Red. It has a 13-second intro, and the word lucky is said 13 times in the song. She draws the number 13 on her hand during tours sometimes. She has the number 13 on her drummer's drum riser. She was born on, I said that, her debut album went platinum in 13 weeks. She believes that whenever she's seated in row 13 or row M, the 13th letter in the award show, she always wins. She often posts, if she's watching a fan's live stream, supposedly she posts 13 emojis in there to show that it's her. Etc., etc. There's a bunch more things, so that's fascinating.
Yes. Not everybody's lucky number.
We didn't plan for it.
No, we didn't.
But yet here we are. The number of bullet points on this Wikipedia page for why she likes number 13 is long. The 10-minute version of All Too Well is 10 minutes and 13 seconds long.
Wow. Have you listened to that? 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
All Too Well.
Yeah, many times. And when she did it on Saturday Night Live, that was pretty great as well. She did the full 10-minute version on there. So yeah, that's Taylor.
That's Tay-Tay.
We're both fans of Tay-Tay. We love Tay-Tay. She's great. She's had a weird career where she's been beloved and then people hated her, and now she seems like she's on the beloved uprise again.
100% beloved now.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to tear her down, but I think she rose and and she took control, I think.
She did. She took full control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is about artists. Like, how is her music not her music?
Because she doesn't own the original master recordings, the original tapes.
Why?
Because when you're starting out as an artist, you can't afford to make an album. It costs money to hire a studio.
Yeah.
So you sign a recording contract with a record label, and they will pay for the studio time, meaning that what you produce in there, while it has your name on it as songwriter and performer, it is owned in a literal sense by the record label. So what happened was her record label was called Big Machine, and Big Machine was purchased by this guy Scooter Braun, who she didn't get on with.
No.
And he ended up owning her masters. And that's what's led her to do this project to re-record her old albums. In a way that only she can, she's turned it into yet another... Like, she's not just re-releasing them and quietly putting them on YouTube Music and Spotify or whatever. She's like... Each one is a big event in and of itself, with all these old tracks being re-recorded and re-released, the Vault tracks, and she's just done Speak Now, her third album, and she's got Paramore and Fall Out Boy on these Vault tracks and stuff, and it's a pretty incredible project. And it's I was looking at the Wikipedia page about this project earlier, and there's a list of all different artists that have been inspired to re-record some of their old songs as a result and things. And she has a policy of just refusing to allow any of those original recordings that she doesn't own to be licensed for use in songs and commercials. Because even though she doesn't own the masters, I guess she still has a say in if they're licensed out. Yeah. So partly her project is to re-record all this stuff, and then she can allow it to be used.
Nice.
Fascinating stuff.
Fascinating, and shows how shit the music industry is.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one.
It's definitely her music, like it's hers.
Yeah.
I
think Olivia Rodrigo said that she negotiated to have ownership over her masters, was inspired by Taylor and similar things. Shall we start discussing the albums?
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our top 5.
It was a tough one because she's recorded 10 albums.
Yes. Have you listened to all 10 albums
So,
before we start?
her first album, Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
have not listened to.
I have.
Her second
For the first
album,
time.
Fearless,
Yeah.
haven't really listened to. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're making me look awful now.
No.
Her third
Why?
album, Speak Now, I've listened to a lot, but over the past week, because it came out the Taylor's version came out like a week ago. So I've listened to it a lot, but it's all very new for me. But God, it's good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her fourth album is Red. I've listened to
Red.
that a ton. Her fifth album is 1989. I've listened to that a ton. Sixth album is Reputation. I've not really ever listened to Reputation. Seventh album is Lover. I've listened to that a lot. 8 is Folklore. I've listened to that a lot.
Of course.
9 is Evermore. Listened to that a lot.
Yeah.
And 10 is Midnights. I've listened to that a lot. I've just named all her albums off the top of my head without having to check.
Yeah.
Therefore, the fact
You're
that
a
I've
proper
not listened
JJ.
to a couple of them hopefully is excused by the fact that I've got them all memorised up here in order.
Definitely. No, I listened to Speak Now because it's been released, and then I was like, I have to listen to Taylor Swift and Fearless.
Okay,
And,
I'll be
so I
interested.
listened to both of them.
Either when it's relevant or at the end of your list, I'd be interested to know what the very first album is like.
Oh, yeah. I haven't put Taylor Swift, Fearless, and Speak Now. I only listened to them for the first time in the past couple of weeks, so I haven't.
Well, let's
included
discuss them at the end because I'd like to know what you think of them.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
All of that said, my fifth favourite Taylor Swift album is the album Lover.
Lover. Yes.
It came out a couple of years after Reputation. Reputation is the album where she was like, I'm a bad guy, bad girl, people hate me, and you know what, I don't care that they hate me. And she was a very like dark and intense album. I think when I do actually properly listen to it, I think I really enjoy it, even though one of the songs does have Ed Sheeran on, but it's fine. Then Lovers seemed to be a course correction, going way more into electropop and synth pop. The first single, Me, with Brandon Urie, is very sugary sweet and not really the best song on the album, but it's fine.
No. But it's a good song.
It's a good song, but there are much better songs. My favourite song on this album isn't a single, and it is Paper Rings.
Ah, yes.
Paper Rings is a great song. But yeah, so it's very, very much more bubbly and synth pop and stuff, and it was affected massively by COVID. It came out in 2019. She planned a big tour for it, but then obviously COVID happened. That all got cancelled and eventually transmuted into the Eras tour, which I think opens with a tribute to Lover. She performed songs off that album first, in recognition of the fact that album didn't get a proper tour. And it's a real shame because it's such a great album. Like, it's like I Forgot That You Existed is a great track. Cruel Summer, Lover, The Man. I love The Man so much. Yeah. It's very like, you could roll your eyes at it if you wanted to be cruel, but I think it's kind of
I think it's a great
reflection
album.
on herself. The Archer is a beautiful like mid-tempo ballad. Cornelia Street's really good. And then she saves it really close to the end for some of the best tracks. Where's Paper? Oh, Paper Rings are track 8, but then like You Need to Calm Down, which is probably the best single on it, is track 14. Like it's a long album. It's like over an hour, just over an hour. And then Me is the first single, is track 16 out of 18. But it just keeps up the tempo and the pace the whole way through, and I love it. What do you think of Lover?
I love Lover. I've got it on my list at some point.
Lovely.
And I think it's a great album. It's kind of like a complete shift in her persona as well. I think she completely changes, and it's the shift. She is the first album away from Big Machine Records. And I think it's a very good album. And I think my favorite song is probably Cruel Summer.
Oh, really?
I really like that one.
Cruel Summer's a good song.
Yeah.
But it's really... I always forget about this album, and then when I look at the playlist, I'm like, I like all of these songs.
Yeah, and You Need to Calm Down is amazing.
The music video is very good for that song.
Yeah, and London Boy is really cute. I think is referencing maybe her ex-boyfriend now.
Joe Alwyn.
Joe Alwyn. I quite like that one. And The Man, Lover. Yeah, it's a great album. I love it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What's your fifth favourite Taylor Swift album?
My fifth favorite Taylor album is really strange because it's not an album that I liked at the beginning, but I've been listening to it the past couple of weeks, and I really like it now, which is very strange. So I'm not sure if I changed or well, my fifth favorite album is her ninth studio album, Evermore.
Evermore. Yeah, you didn't. I remember you
Yeah.
said you didn't like it at all when we.
Yeah, because I
first
listened to
discussed it.
Folklore and I loved it. And I listened to Folklore again and I was like, I couldn't connect to again. And then I listened to Evermore because I kind of did a bit of a marathon. And I listened to it again this morning and I was like, I really like this album. It's just wonderful, and it's this anthology of tales about love and being a human. And I think is this still with a collaboration with Aaron Dessner?
Yeah, it came from basically the same sessions that Folklore came from.
Yeah, and the first time I listened to it, I couldn't really connect to it, but then now I prefer it to Evermore.
You prefer it to?
I prefer it to Folklore.
Why you prefer it to Folklore? That is crazy to me, but
I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because I think it's great as well.
Yeah, and I don't know why because I think I like Folklore so much, and I think I wasn't ready for Evermore, and I just
Do you know what? At the time, I did think that, but I didn't say it because I didn't want to annoy you.
You need to annoy me. Come on,
in my head, I was like, she's just holding it to the same standards as an album she's already fallen in love with. She's not being fair to it. I
wasn't prepared for it. And I was listening to it this morning, and Coney Island, which is featuring the National, her voice with Aaron Dessner is so good together.
It's Matt Berninger's voice.
Matt Berninger. Is it not Aaron Dessner?
Aaron Dessner's the guitarist in the National.
Oh, sorry, I don't know the National.
The vocalist in the National is
Matt Berninger.
Berninger.
Sorry, Berninger.
Yes.
So her vocals with the Nationals, Matt Berninger, work extremely well.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sorry.
But there's an even better collaboration on this album.
The one with Haim.
Love that song.
Nobody, No Crime.
It's a murder ballad. It's a full-on murder ballad. She's done a murder ballad. I love the fact that there's a murder ballad on this album.
But this album is a story. It's an album of stories, and I think it's wonderful, and I really, really like it. And I like the last song, Evermore, with Bon Iver, and I think even her voice with Justin Vernon's voice works incredibly well, and it's just a great album, which I'm glad that I gave it another chance.
Yeah, I think you're right that like on Folklore and Evermore, her storytelling ability is on a new level from what she's done in the past. Like the stories on these two albums are amazing. Same on the Folklore track, The Last Great American Dynasty.
Yeah.
It's an incredible like story song.
Yeah.
It puts me in mind of The Great Gatsby. Like that kind of vibe. It's wonderful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But do you know a song I don't like on Evermore? Oh, no, I don't like it. It kind of like 'Tis the Damn Season.
Oh, I quite like that one.
It's a Christmas song.
Well, it's fine.
But it's
Why can we not have a
weird
Christmas
because it's not a
album?
Christmas album.
I know, but it's an album of stories.
When I listen to the album, it's not December. I'm always like, why am I listening to this Christmas song now?
Because every day is Christmas.
Yeah, maybe I should just be more chill about it.
Yeah, just be chill. It doesn't have to be Christmas just on the 25th of December.
I think you would be the first to complain if it was Christmas all year round, Alex.
Yeah, I would.
You hypocrite.
I'll be like, why is it so happy?
Why are they making it be Christmas every day? I hate it. Right.
All this consumerism, turkey gobbling. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear my fourth?
What's your number 4?
Taylor Swift album.
Yes, please.
My fourth favourite Taylor Swift album is the album, her 10th studio album,
Ooh.
Midnights.
Midnight.
An album that
Sorry.
I struggled to connect with when it first came out because of the fact that it was like a step away from the Aaron Dessner indie folk stuff, and back to being like a pop star. And I was a bit like, oh, but what about all that stuff? But you know, she shouldn't live in one zone forever. She should experiment. The fact that she keeps on working with Jack Antonoff now is a little bit worrying because he does have a sound. So I was a bit skeptical about this album, but it is just very good, excellent songwriting, and it's got that sound that Lover has, but it's brought like the lyrical darkness, the slightly darker vibes of Folklore and Evermore.
Yeah.
Into a really kind of mature and interesting pop album, and that, you know, she announced it out of nowhere during an awards show speech. She didn't do like any singles. She just does this now. She just releases albums, and you just get them and you see.
Yeah.
And, it's like when I listen to it now, I'm like Lavender Haze, great song. Maroon, great song. Anti-Hero, incredible. Yeah. One of the best songs. Like, I'm going to see that song performed live next year, and I'm like, Snow on the Beach with Lana Del Rey. Who? What do you think of Lana Del Rey on an alternate?
Well, Lana Del Rey has done an incredible comeback because I used to love her, but she got shat on by the media, by people, by everybody. And then, you know, people are like, oh, she can't really sing, blah, 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 blah. And now she's come back. Well, she's never really left, but she wasn't really in the spotlight.
Yeah, but
and now she's come back, and she's incredible. I always thought she was incredible, but it was too early for her to be her. And I'm so glad that she's making a comeback because I adore her.
Have you listened to Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard?
No. What?
Her newest album.
No, I haven't listened to it. I should really.
Yeah, because
Is it good?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. We can talk about that one day potentially.
Yeah. And I'm just so glad she's back because she's had so much shit on her.
Yeah. Although it's a tough thing with did you know about how she got cut off at Glastonbury?
Because she was late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason she gave for being late was it takes a very long time to do her hair. Yeah. And she hadn't performed in the UK in like 7 years, and there would have been a lot of people there who had gone to Glastonbury just to see her. She can be a bit of a challenging figure, I think.
Yeah, I don't agree with the artist being late, and I don't think nobody should be late.
Yeah, it's irritating when you get artists that are late. And she headlined Hyde Park a few weeks later. You know, where I saw Guns N' Roses, and again she was like 20 minutes late there, and it's like you've kind of got one job that day. Like, be on time for that job. You know. But all that aside, I think her music's brilliant, and you know her feature on this track is good on Midnights.
Yes.
You're on your own, kid. Midnight Rain. Midnight Rain's a great song. Question.
Oh, I love Midnight Rain. Yeah. I can listen to it constantly. Midnight Rain.
Vigilante shit is great. Bejeweled is wonderful. Labyrinth, Karma. I really like Karma. Mastermind, like the whole album, like from beginning to end, it's incredible. Album. And then, like as soon as she released the 3M edition with a couple of songs, The Great War, that she did with Aaron Dessner and a couple of other Dessner tracks, Would Have, Could Have, Should Have. And then she did the Till Dawn edition that's got a version of Snow on the Beach that has even more Lana Del Rey on it. She's got an Ice Spice feature on Karma. There's a big project, big album. Yeah. Incredible tracks. I love it. And she just keeps on making great music.
She's a machine.
Yeah, she's a machine.
What I adore about her, I think, she's a machine. She just like releases everything and adds more stuff. And
she's in the middle of re-recording 6 albums, and she's still somehow made a new album. Like, I didn't think she'd do any new albums until this set of projects was done. Yeah. No, here's Midnights, and it's great. Yeah. So well done her. So what's your 4th favourite album?
My 4th favourite album is her 5th studio album, 1989.
1989?
Yes.
Awesome.
This is kind of like her real shift from country music to pop. You know, she becomes more poppy here. and I listened to this album with you, so it's wonderful. It's after her birth year, 1989, and it's kind of like starting her synth pop kind of era and her poppy era. And I think it's a great album. You know, it starts with "Welcome to New York," "Blank Space," "Are We Out of the Woods?" Not "Are We," but in the song goes "Are We Out of the Woods?" "Bad Blood." I love that song, and I think it's just it was my kind of first real experience of an album of hers, and I really like it. And listening to it again this past couple of weeks, I kind of started loving it again. And what do you think of 1989?
Love it. It's amazing. It's like that year, 2014 is one of the greatest years in the history of pop music, because we also were graced that year with, let me just double check. Oh, well. So this came out October 2014, and then in June 2015, we got the album Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen. And in 2013, September 2013, the album Bangers by Miley Cyrus was released. So there's like a little over a year span there where like 3 incredible pop albums came out, and 1989 is like smack bang in the middle of all of that. And you didn't even mention just then when you were going through the songs, Shake It Off, probably her biggest single ever, maybe her most well-known one. It's pretty stunning. I'm
love Shake It Off.
Shake it off. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
But it's great that it has a huge kind of catchy hooky pop song like that on it, but it's also got songs like Blank Space, which are a bit more about Bad Blood, Wildest Dreams. It's a brilliant album, and she hasn't yet done the Taylor's version of this album. No. I bet that project will be pretty amazing. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, no, I love 1989. It's very good.
Yeah. I think is this the one where, is this the time that she took all of her stuff away from streaming services?
Oh, I think it was around the time. She wasn't on Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think she realised that you can't really do that though, eventually, annoyingly.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah. Well, my third favourite Taylor Swift album is also 1989. 1989, so it's also on my list, pretty high. Big fan of it. The only thing I wish it was called 1988, because that's when I was born. But never mind. Missed out by 1 year.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. What's your second favourite?
What's
your third favourite, sorry.
My third favourite is her fourth studio album, Red. Yes. I like it because it's so raw. It's just her being heartbroken and just putting it in an album, and it's just wonderful. Isn't it? It was the start of her complete shift from country to pop music. So there's still some country songs in this
one. Sort of straddles the line between those two worlds, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then it starts with like "I Knew You Were Trouble." It's just kind of like very, starts kind of becoming much more poppy. But then you go "Stay, Stay, Stay." That's it's kind of like a fusion between pop and country. But it's just her bearing her soul in this album and being heartbroken, but realizing when people are terrible, when "I Knew You Were Trouble." I like it because you're not really sure who is she talking about. So in a way, what I like about Taylor Swift's albums is just like, it could be one person that she's kind of heartbroken over, or it could be like a series of feelings that she had for people. You don't know. But there's this song "All Too Well," that is apparently about Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's really heart-wrenching. And then in the Taylor's version, there's like the 10-minute and did you say it's that 10 minutes and 30 seconds?
The video is 10 minutes and 13 seconds long.
Yeah, one, and it's just, you know, and then there's an homage to her friends in the song 22, you know, I'm feeling 22. And it's just a great album. And even the song with Ed Sheeran, I like it.
I don't really yeah. Is that's just on the Taylor's version, is it? Or is it? No, it's on the main version. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also in the main version. Yeah. And what do you think about this album?
Love it. It's very good. Also, the track with the guy from Snow Patrol, who I do not like, is also very good. The Last Time.
Yes. Yes.
Unexpectedly brilliant. Yeah, and this was another one where, like, I knew you were trouble. 22. We are never ever getting back together. I think those are the 3 songs from this album that I knew before I ever listened to it, and I liked all 3 of those songs.
Yeah.
And sometimes you think, oh, it's a pop star, so those are the good songs, and the rest of the album is going to be sort of filler. No, it's great. The first track, State of Grace, is great.
Yes.
And brings you into that world so beautifully. Red, such a good song. You could just go through the whole out, like, and you know, well, it's my number 2, so it's my next one on my list.
Oh, okay.
So I'll talk about it a bit now.
Yeah.
The Taylor's version is 130 minutes long. It's like over 2 hours.
It's long.
But it's great from start to finish. It's great. Like that, the expanded version has got that 10-minute version of All Too Well, which is the best version of that song. It's also got a Phoebe Bridgers featuring song Nothing New, which is wonderful as well. A really, really fantastic album. I love Red, and I'm so glad that she's doing this. I might have not ever properly gone back to it if she hadn't done this project and re-recorded it.
Yeah.
So specifically, it's like Red Taylor's version is a version that I love. It's great.
But all the songs also, because people were not really believing her. Is it not all the songs like? Is it this one or there's an album that she did and she wrote all the songs pretty much not by herself, but not with much help because people were like, oh, you don't really write your songs.
Speak Now, I think.
Speak Now, yes, it wasn't. Yeah. People are such haters.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But good for her for showing that she, you know, she doesn't need the haters. So my number 2 is also Red.
Yeah.
Incredible. Keep it coming. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Lover.
Lover.
I love this album. It's beautiful. It's like a love letter. It's wonderful. And I like all the songs, and I love Cruel Summer. I said it before. And I just think it's a great album.
It is.
And it just shows her to be her. And after Reputation, you know, Reputation was, you know, a good album, but I think she was still kind of like processing everything.
Yeah.
And I think this was just the first album where she's like, oh, this is me, and I'm just gonna do an 18-song album and do what the hell I want to do.
Yeah.
And
Reputation really feels like she's working through.
Yeah.
And trying to work out who she is, and Lover feels like she has decided who she is.
Yeah, because I thought I was gonna put Reputation in my list, but then I really like the first part of the album, and I really don't like the second part of the album, and it's really weird. And it feels, and after listening to Reputation, listening to Lover, it's just like she's come out of the kind of tunnel, and she can just be herself now.
Love it.
Yes.
Well, my number 1 is unsurprising to anyone. The album Folklore. Folklore, her 8th studio album. It's, you know, I remember when the news came out that she announced that she was releasing an album. Like, how did it happen again? She unveiled that, so on July 23rd. So yeah, on July 23rd, she announced it was coming out 16 hours prior to its release. And I liked her at that point. So that was exciting in of itself. And then when I read that she'd recorded the whole thing with Aaron Dessner, like, not just that he'd produced 1 or 2 songs on it, but that it was a complete creative collaboration between those 2 artists. I couldn't have invented that if you see what I mean. I couldn't have imagined that would ever happen.
Yeah.
And I just, and it, July 24th, 2020 was a pretty rubbish time to be alive in the world. And
Yeah.
having that as something to look to just an exciting gift to receive was so amazing and genuinely, like, it's easy to talk hyperbolically about the power of music and popular culture to be, enlifting and empowering and help us for our lives, but genuinely that album at that point in time was exactly what I needed, and I listened to it so much. And then they did the Disney Plus special later that year where she performed the whole thing with Aaron Dessner as well, and it's just I just love it. I love it. I love every song. I listened to the whole thing through yesterday, and it's just brilliant. And my favorite track on it is from the deluxe version, "The Lakes," where she's singing about Windermere, which is a lake near where I live in the north of England, and like the fact that she's sort of feels this spiritual pull towards the countryside of my homeland, my home area, really speaks to me as well, and I adore it, and I love the album, and I love that song, "The Lakes," and I love that as I'm looking through it now, as I'm looking through the track list on Wikipedia, every song pretty much has got the word Desna next to it, and well done, Desna. Other than Illicit Affairs.
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah, pretty much only Illicit Affairs and August and Mirrorball and My Tears Ricochet and everything else has got his name on it. It's great. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's my number one, a Folklore. It's pretty special in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also just to go from the sugary marshmallow pop world of Lover, which is great.
Yeah.
But to go from that with such confidence into a completely new world, to have the confidence to present this completely different thing to your fan base, out of nowhere is a pretty baller move as well. So
yeah,
well done.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
And what's your number one?
My number one is her 10th studio album, Midnight.
Oh, that's your favourite album?
That is my favourite album. I feel like I've connected the most to this one. I feel like she has put all of her I don't know, anxiety and stuff in it, and I feel the most of that. Like, whilst the other albums I like, and she feels everything, I feel this one, what she feels like somehow connected with me, and it's kind of being self-aware, and being criticizing herself and insecurities, and I think this one is more her inner self rather than her telling a story.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just really connected this album, and I could listen to it all the time, and I have been listening to it all the time, and it's just, for me, it's just a wonderful album that just flows, and it's got some great songs, and I don't know, I just think it's an incredible album, and I think it's her best. Making this list was really hard because I feel in any moment you can like change one of her albums to your number one. Yeah. And so at one point, after listening to all of the other albums in the first three, I was just like, I kind of like these. And I know that in one moment they'll become my favorite album. I think she's such a great artist that she can change and tell a story, a different story in each album, and so different. It's Taylor Swift, but her storytelling changes, her music changes, the way she performs it changes. She's just amazing. She's just unique.
And her lyrics it's really exciting. I really enjoy how so often there's so much backstory to any given song. Yeah. It's so fascinating to find out about. Like, I was listening to Speak Now, and again, like you were saying, I listened to Speak Now for the first time properly the other week, when she brought out the re-recorded Taylor's version of it, and I listened to it through once, and I was like, maybe this isn't the Taylor Swift that I like. Maybe this is a bit before she became what I enjoy. And then I listened to it a second time, and then the third time. By the third time, I was like, no, this is pretty great. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
And like the song Enchanted really jumped out at me as a really, like, I really like that bit. It was enchanting to meet you. It's a really good little vocal melody.
Please don't be in love.
And it's fine. I was just like, I'm just gonna look this song up, just see what it's about, and then fell into this whole rabbit hole about how it's all about the guy from Owl City of all people, and how they loved each other, but they had a big crushes on each other, but he was too nervous to tell her, and it just didn't happen. And then he like did a cover of the song as like a response to her, and this is fascinating, like ships in the night scenario. And just from this one song, it's and that she snuck words into the lyrics of the song that he uses in his songs to hint just to him that it's about him. Yeah.
And who hasn't thought for 1 second, looking at their crush, going, please don't be in love with someone else? No?
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a common feeling. So,
Sorry.
yeah. Pretty.
Yeah.
It was a tough list to do, and like Evermore should be on my list, but I feel like Folklore was my number one, and those two albums are such a pairing that I wanted to talk about the other albums. So like, I left it off and I listened to Lover one more time and was like, no, this album's brilliant. So Lover kind of crept onto my list. I have two honorable mentions. Evermore, because it was on there, and then Speak Now, which I'm really, really liking. And hopefully, we'll get into a little bit more. What do you think of Speak Now, having listened to it?
I love Speak Now. I really love Speak Now. At one point, it's like, because the Taylor's version is like 1 hour 44 minutes or something. Album. It's a long album, but I loved every second of it. And I was just like, oh, could I? But I only listened to it a couple of times, so I was just like, yeah.
But Mean is a real earworm. Mean got stuck in my head for days and days. And now I can't remember how it goes.
Yes, that's so.
I'll be living in a big city. How does it go?
Yeah.
And you'll still be mean. God damn it.
Mean.
All you're gonna be is mean. Mean.
No, that's stay.
Yeah, that's a real earworm.
Then there's Dear John, who she wrote, for John Mayer.
Yeah.
He was much older than her.
Yeah, she is now, or last year, she was the age that he was when they first were dating. And
crazy.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. Because I feel like there's a song on Midnights that's about that as well. Yeah, I don't think she's very impressed with him. It would seem. Have you seen the video on YouTube of, I think it's like a Children in Need thing a couple of years ago, of this actor recording one of her songs for a Children in Need charity album?
No.
Let me show you that, because it's a song off Speak Now, and it's a pretty nice little fun moment. And I watched it this morning, and I think it will be a fun video to show you. Let me find it. You might or might not recognise the actor, I don't know.
Okay, I do not recognise this actor.
He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's in Broadchurch, which...
Okay.
Yeah. But see what you think. This is a...
Okay, let's do it. Relax. It's totally cool. You're not
oh, yeah, because Taylor Swift went there, didn't she?
Well, he doesn't know that she's going
Colman,
to.
I think.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the background for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's amazing. She's everywhere. Oh, yeah, I remember Olivia Colman meeting Taylor Swift. I think I've seen part of this video.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
She's very tall.
Yes.
So if we go in there,
Yeah.
you won't see you, but if you can do a hello or say something.
So I think Olivia Colman is nervous. He's in the bit where he's recording. She's like, studio.
Yeah, we can, do cleanups. This is taped.
So is he a fan of Taylor Swift?
Yeah, well, I'll let the video tell you.
So cool.
Okay.
Love a surprise. Okay, big heavy doors. Yeah, ready?
Why is she so tall? She's so tall.
That's
Why is Olivia
amazing, isn't
Colman
it?
very short?
I think Tay Tay is tall.
Memorize what it sounded like when your dad gets home. Remember the footsteps, remember the words said.
So it's Never Grow Up, I think he's doing.
Yeah.
I just realized everything I have is one day gonna be.
He's not necessarily the strongest singer that's ever been.
But Taylor's crying.
Sean,
So, you know, she's so lovely.
Yeah.
we've got just like a little bit, one note. Can you do it a little bit more American?
Are you
Like a
kidding
little
me?
bit more of an American accent. It's a bit Yorkshire.
Are you kidding me?
Hey! Good to meet you. Can I meet you like not through glass?
Oh, he's so surprised to see her.
Oh my.
Oh, is he happy?
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for wanting to sing one of my songs.
Oh,
I love this song so much. I love it so much.
she is tall.
Yeah.
Is just like it's the coolest, most wonderful thing.
Well, in Anti-Hero show, it says like how she seems like a giant next to everybody else.
Again, and the
Yeah.
fact that I heard that you like were kind of dedicating this to your family.
Yeah.
It was just like my heart like doubled in size. And
Aw.
you sound great. I'm a big Broadchurch fan too, by the way.
Brilliant.
Massive.
I'm not.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're amazing. There's nothing quite like when you get a song right and you've managed to like.
Like how she got
Somebody you
time
know
to
they didn't
do
know.
watch things and sing and write and travel and have
Well,
relationships.
to be cynical, due to owning a private jet, quite probably. But
Fine, but do you have time? Like they're in 24 hours in the day, even if you own a private
she's a
jet.
busy lady.
I can't do it.
Yeah, like she's re-recording stuff. She's watching TV.
I'm
She's
just singing to my kids, and I heard this voice, this American voice. I went,
Oh, that's so
nobody's
cute.
American here. And I looked up, thinking somebody had come out onto the balcony and was just talking. Oh, that's a bit rude. Then I looked.
just singing to the
"Who's that?"
kids.
And I was like, no.
You're in massive trouble.
You love me.
You are.
I think it's amazing that actors are making an
Wild
album
times.
Lovely.
for children in need and putting
Lovely.
themselves out there and putting themselves in situations some of them aren't really used to.
Today we recorded
Cool.
Cool.
Do you want to know my honorable mentions?
Yeah, go on.
Every other Taylor Swift album.
Yeah, fair enough. So what's her debut album like to listen to?
I like it. It's just very young.
Yeah.
But she still has a lot of she's had a lot of feelings since the start. Like she, let's say I think she was 15. So her first album came out in 2006
Yeah.
and she was how old was she?
Well, she was born in 1989.
So 20,
She'd been 21, 20,
20
no, 11 plus 6, 17. But she'd have recorded
17,
it when
so-
she was 16.
Yes. So Taylor's like, so you can kind of hear her being young and I knew some songs somehow because I think she was like popular from the beginning and like Tim McGraw is like a really fun song and Teardrops on My Guitar. It's like, I don't know, they're just cute songs and but they have a lot of her feelings already. Like she wrote these songs. There's nobody else wrote these songs. Like she had somebody help her,
Yeah, but she's got songwriting credits on every song, and
Yeah.
2, 3 of the songs she wrote on her own as a
Yeah.
16-year-old.
yeah,
15-year-old even. Pretty incredible.
yes.
Um,
And even Fearless, it's pretty cool album. Like it's very country and I don't now that I'm older, I always used to dislike country, but now that I'm older, I quite enjoy it. And so I don't think I would have enjoyed these albums when I was 21, but I really enjoyed them this time. They were pleasant surprises because I wasn't I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've never really listened to Fearless other than, I mean, Love Story is it's one of my favourite Taylor Swift songs, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do our top 5 Taylor Swift songs one day. Let's just keep
Yes.
talking about Taylor Swift for a while.
Oh my God, but there's so many songs. How are you going to find a top 5? That'd be just terrible.
Yeah, it would be tough, wouldn't it? Much more difficult than picking from 10 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair play.
Shall we do 5 to 1?
Yeah. Well, my 5 to 1 is 5 Lover, 4 Midnights,
Yeah.
3 1989, 2 Red, and 1 Folklore.
Great. Mine are 5 Evermore, 4 1989, 3 Red, 2 Lover, 1 Midnights. And when you have time, like maybe when she really, I shouldn't have listened to it because it wasn't Taylor's version, but I was really interested to know where she came from. And so before doing this episode, but I will listen to Taylor's version when she releases.
Yeah, I wasn't implying any judgment for listening to it. I just
weren't you?
No, I just decided to, but maybe I'll break that promise because I'm kind of interested to hear her debut.
I think you might enjoy the first album. It's quite.
But what are we still waiting for? We're waiting for Taylor's version still of the debut album. She's done Fearless. Yeah. She's done Red. So then 1989 she still needs to do.
Yeah.
She's on Speak Now as well. So 1989 and Reputation. So waiting for Taylor Swift, 1989 and Reputation.
Yeah, 3.
I'm interested to hear the re-recorded version of Reputation because that's such a electronic heavy album and stuff. I wonder what she'll do.
Which I love the first half. I think I really like the first half of the album, and then I just lose her a little bit.
Interesting. I'll listen to it properly. Okay, that is episode 113 of the Culture Bucket podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Next week we'll be back with you for episode 114, which will be a Culture Catch-up episode. And then we've got a special plan to keep you hooked on content over the summer break, where we're going to be discussing the latest season of
Black Mirror.
Charlie Brooker's Wouldn't It Be Weird If Your Wi-Fi Was Evil TV show. And there's 5 episodes in that season, so that will take us through to episode 119.
Yes.
Leaving us poised for episode 120 in the autumn. So that's going to be really exciting. So yeah, please do join us for those. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Go and find us on social media. Look at the links in the show notes for this episode to find all our places to talk to us and email us and buy us a coffee, and go and rate and review us everywhere you can. Tell your friends about us. It's been a pleasure to speak to you again. Love you so much.
Yes.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.